Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. After rainstorms, thunderstorms, and near floods this morning, it stopped raining. Now, I don't know how long I've got, but I want to bolt up the carburetor onto the outboard motor and see if I can get it to fire off. So I'm going to take advantage of this brief lull in the storms going over, see if I can't get this done. Lots of mosquitoes. I need to reconnect the pulse line. And slip the carburetor over the two studs on the top. And I think putting two studs on the top was a genius move by some engineer or designer, although there really isn't much difference between the two. And that if that had not been set up that way, I would not have been able to put bolts in there very easily, because the bolts needed to be long enough to go all the way through the manifold and into the block. And I could not have slid them in front of this fuel hose nipple or the idle jet screw on the other side. There. Now hook up the fuel line. With the gas hose in the gas tank. In my temporary gas tank, because the other gas tank is still getting derusted. Pump fuel into the engine. Set that open. Close the choke. Put on a glove because I have put a pretty good blister on the side of my fingers pulling on the starting rope. Get this back out of the way so I don't accidentally hit it with my elbow. Let's see what happens. The float is not shutting off. Fuel pump's definitely pumping, but the float's not shutting off. Okay. We got it running. I'm just getting too much fuel into the carburetor, which you can see by the gasoline squirting out of this little hole on the side. That's the air vent for the float bowl so that fuel can be pulled out of the float bowl. But right now, this should be shutting off. When I squeeze this, it should shut off the float. So I need to pull the carburetor, take off the fuel line, and readjust the float in that carburetor. But it does run. When I fix the reed valve issue, I now have an engine that starts and runs. I'm just getting too much fuel into it. It's flooding out. There might be people who can adjust the float with the carburetor mounted on the motor. I am not one of them. I have to take this in the shop and adjust that float. Okay, that should shut off the fuel. Once the float fills up, that should shut off that valve. But if the pump is putting out more pressure than what the valve can handle, it could blow past that. So let's see. We'll put back on. I like that they made these studs dog-nosed. There's about the length of a thread that doesn't have any threads on the end of the stud. That way it slides in to the first thread and gives it a guide to allow the nut to go on. A little ray of sunshine here. I can feel it on my hand. Now, part of my problem may be that I'm not using a conventional fuel tank, and the restriction in the fuel tank may lessen the amount of fuel going to the engine. And I'm going to leave that hose disconnected. We're going to see what happens. Well, it definitely runs. Runs till it runs out of gas. One minor problem though. I'm not seeing any water coming out of these holes. That is the exhaust for the engine, and it has a pump in the bottom that's supposed to pump water up into this manifold here and keep it cool. Now, it's not warm. This is the exhaust manifold that goes down from the bottom of the block into this, and then down into the water. Now it could be that I just don't have enough water in this tank. And in fact, it's probably a good likelihood. But there is a little rubber impeller down in the bottom. That pumps water into this. And I need to see if I can get one of those impellers. I think I can. So that's 3 problems solved. I fixed the carburetor, cleaned it all up, then I fixed the reed valves, got those cleaned up and got the rust off of them, got them so they seal. And I adjusted the float. Now, I still need to adjust the engine. It's running a little rich, but that's okay. I'd rather have it running rich than lean. Lean makes it burn pistons up. So, gonna have to be fiddling with it a little bit, and I bet that's best done out on the lake. Yeah, I'm about ready to put it in the water. It's gonna take a little while. I gotta make some other arrangements to get things done, but it's cool. I got a boat, and I got a motor, and it runs. And it stays running on its own. I didn't have to fiddle with it or bang on it or anything else. Now to clean that fuel tank and get the rust out of it, and I'll be all set. So the Sportfisher is ready to run on the lake, and we're going to go down to Lake Lydia and give it a try just as soon as I possibly can. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the US or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.